Hello. I am hoping to make a video for you today that shows you how to use the IU library to find scholarly articles about your company that you can use in your annual report project. So to start, you're going to go to the IU library because this class is from IU East. We're using their library, so www.iue.edu/library. From there, you're going to click, I'm really good today, click on Academic Search Premier. This is going to bring up a search screen that should look something like this. You're going to have to log in using your IU credentials, and then it should bring you to a screen that maybe says basic search. You want to make sure you click on advanced search. So this is the search screen we're going to work with. So up here at the top, it says searching, and you can say choose databases. So which databases do I want to look through? You want to look through all the databases. Don't limit yourself. So say select all and say OK. That way it looks everywhere there is to look and doesn't limit you on what you're going to find. So all of these resources are online through IU. IU pays probably to be part of the service. So we're going to go, once we choose that, we'll have to go back to advanced search. So we want to make sure we're on our advanced search. And then up here is what are we going to look for? So this is where you're going to put in the name of your company. So I'm going to use, just as an example, John Deere. So I'm going to put it in parentheses so it looks for the actual phrase John Deere. And that way it doesn't split it up and find things. So you can see it's already finding lots of different options it wants me to pick. So I'm going to stick with John Deere. Then down here in my search options is where I'm going to get way more specific on what I'm looking for. So I'm going to have it look for everything there is fine. Limit my results. I want to see only scholarly journals, peer-reviewed journals. So it's going to be good articles, good scholarly articles to use in research. I want to find things that are recent, maybe the last 5 years or so. So I'm going to say 2010 to whenever. I don't have to choose anything. It'll just go to today. That way, everything I'm finding is recent. If I want to find something historical, that's fine. You can search for previous years. I'm not looking for anything special there. Then it's special limiters. One of the things that you want to look for is things that have PDF full text. That means you can download the article as a PDF file to your computer. That'll allow you to read it, to have it for reference, to look at, whatever you want to do. So I'm also going to limit the language to English because I really only speak English well to read. Can't really read in a lot of other languages well enough to do a research paper on. And then it's going to ask if you want to change what kind of document. I really don't care. I do want to limit the number of pages. When you're doing research, you're actually supposed to read the things that you find. So if you get something that's 150 pages, chances are you're not going to read it. So I'm going to search for things that are less than 25 pages. That way I'm not getting a lot of things. If I don't get anything come back on my search, then I'm going to come in here, I'm going to take some of these things off. But I want to be as specific as I can, so all of the resources that I find will be useful to me. So then it wants to know, do you have any other specific things? I'm going to say, no, I don't have anything else. Anything Business Source Premier, special limiters for Business Source Premier. I am going to come down here in the special limiters for Business Source Premier, and I am going to say, again, I want less than 25 pages. I want PDF full text available. I don't see anything that says about being peer reviewed, so I'm not going to choose that. Then it's going to say, what about this journal? So what this is it's all the different things it's going to search, and it's asking you for parameters within those different options. So because we chose all the journals, we're going to have to choose parameters for all the journals. So in this one, I don't really know that one. I think this is a hospital medical one, so I'm going to just leave that one blank. But I'm going to check PDF full text. And I'm going to choose number of pages, less than 25. Communication, mass media. Again, you're kind of doing the same thing in all of these. So anything that you can that has to do with full text, PDF, that's what you want to do. Perhaps I shouldn't have chose all of them. So the ones that we're really, really focused on are Business Source Premier. If you have a health company, which probably you don't since you need a manufacturing company, if you're doing a manufacturing health company, they might be here. Middle search, MLA, directory of periodicals, professional development. So we picked way too many things here. So I don't really see anything major standing out. Again, the ones that you're probably going to find your articles in are Academic Search Premier, which we've said we want to be PDF in less than 25 pages, and Business Source Premier, which we've said we want to be less than 25 pages with PDF full text available. Depending on your company, you may find things in other places, but that's where we're going to start our search. Those are what we're going to do. So I'm going to say search. And again, you can come in and search as many times as you need to. So I found 35 results. So you'll see some of them are coming up as a find it. So this means it's finding it somewhere else than one of the ones I picked as a PDF. So we want to stick to these ones that are PDF. So what's obvious is not at all obvious. It wants changes to patent laws. So I would have to think, okay, does that have anything to do with John Deere's financial statements? Well, yeah, for sure it would, because if they have a patent for something, maybe that patent's running out and they're going to have more competition. Failure rate analysis of 4 agricultural tractor models in southern Iran. So again, you're going to start finding things very specific. Wheat losses in 2 harvesting methods. John Deere running efficient. So this one is from, find what year? 2012. It's 5 pages and it has to do, it looks like John Deere and how they're running. So I'm going to start with this one because it seems like it would be really relevant to my paper and my company. So when you click on the article, it's going to come up and it's going to show you who the author is, where it came from. So this came from the ASHRAE Journal. I have no idea what that means. It was an article. It's from Moline, which is where John Deere is based. And it talks about the architectural design of Deere & Company's corporate headquarters that was designed by this person. So we're going to just go ahead and use this article. So what I want to do is click on PDF full text over here on the side. So then that's going to download or open the full text of this article. Which then we should be able to save to our own computer or print, however you want to do it. So honorable mention, so this is more about, it appears, architecture, but we're going to just pretend that has something to do with my article because I want to show you how to do this. So I'm going to guess that ASHRAE is some sort of architectural digest. So, but it does talk about the building itself. So it shows where it is, what it's used for, how big it is. It's 533,000 square feet. That's a huge building. It talks about its energy efficiency, which that could be something you use in your paper, that their building is energy efficient, therefore it brings down their costs. Look up how much their costs were, their utility costs, those sorts of things. You can tie pretty much anything to their financial statements if you dig deep enough. So it's going to show all the awards they've won, and then that's pretty much it. So we're going to just pretend this is the article that we're going to use for our paper. So when we're referencing this article, you want to read the actual article, think about it, and then use information in your paper. You do not, I stress, do not need to use quotations. There seems to be some huge misconception that the only time you do a citation is when you have a quote, and that's incorrect. You do quotations anytime you get an idea from an article. So if I were to read this article and it's talking about their HVAC system and how efficient it is, and then I go and consult their financial statements to see that their cost of utilities went down when they implemented this new system, I could say all that and quote this cite this article without using a quotation. I don't need to quote. The only time that you should use a quotation is if changing the wording changes the meaning. So say there is some sort of dialect or syntax, or the wording is in such a way that it needs to say the same thing. So then you wouldn't want to change it. Otherwise, no quotations. Should not ever use quotations. What you're looking for is using ideas. So if I was going to use this in my article, I would open up my annual report project, and we're going to just say I'm starting a new one because I want to show you how to do this. So I'm going to go to Word, and I'm going to say I would like a new document, please. And it should bring up a blank document. So I'm going to grab my reference guide, my Pearson or Prentice Hall reference guide on how to do APA, just so I make sure I tell you right. You should have a guide like this because you have taken English, because it's a requirement as a student in college to have English. So whatever guide you have is fine. I have the Prentice Hall Reference Guide 8th edition. I also have another APA guide, but this is what I'm going to use. So this book actually walks you through how to do APA. It walks you through how to set up your paper, how to do citations, how to do references, how to do all that jazz. So I'm going to focus now. The other books just fell off my bookshelf. So I'm going to focus on how to do the citation and how to do the reference. So when I'm writing, so let's say I am making this all up. This is totally not legit. Don't use this in your paper if you're doing a paper on John Deere. So I'm going to say that John Deere was able to reduce its heating bill by 15% after upgrading their HVAC system to a more energy efficient model. Again, completely making this up, pretending that's what I got out of the article. I want to go back and I want to cite the article that I found. So when you're doing an in-text citation, you're going to use the author's last name and the year. So our article was written by Bruce Davis. So I'm going to use Davis, comma, space, and the year it was published. So this article was published, I can see over here, on April 1st, 2012. That's when this magazine probably came out, the ASHRAE Journal. So we're going to use then 2012. And then we put a period. So the citation goes within the sentence that you're using. The only time that you use a page number is if you're doing an actual direct quotation. If you have more than one work by the same author, then you have to do it a little bit differently. So you're going to need to have a manual to be able to do that. You can have two citations within one sentence. So you're citing two different things in one sentence. You can have all kinds of different scenarios. So that's where you need to go back to your APA manual that you have from your English class. But make sure if you got the idea from somewhere, you're citing it. If you did not know that piece of information before you started writing this paper, it needs a citation. So if I was writing about John Deere, and I just realized I spelled it wrong, I knew that they were based in Moline, Illinois. I know they make tractor equipment. That's pretty much off the top of my head all I know. I don't know who their CEO is. I don't know how much money they make. I'm going to have to go look all that stuff up. So if I have to go look it up, I have to cite it. You have to give credit to the source that you got it from. You can't just use it in your paper. That's plagiarism. So you're going to have to source. Even if you got it from John Deere, from their financial statements, that's what you would source. That's what you would cite in your paper. So when you're done writing your paper, or as you're going, I highly recommend doing it as you are going because it makes it a lot easier. You're going to do a reference list. So a reference list in APA goes on its own page, and it starts with the word references centered at the top. So they're not called bibliography or works cited. They're called references. And then they're going to start one line under that, left aligned, And so now I want to do my reference. So I'm going to find it in my thing. So it's a journal article. That's what we're going to do with one author. So to start out, you're going to do the last name of the person that wrote the article. So his last name was Davis, and first initial. No first names, only first initials. If there are 14 authors, it is still last name, first initial. So it was written by Davis, B. Then I'm going to do a space, and then you're going to put when was it published. So it was published 2012. I believe it's April. I'm going to go back to my article and find it. 2012, April 1st. So I'm going to say 2012, comma, April, I can't spell it all today, April 1. In my thing, put a period. Then you're going to put the title of the article. And it's weird how you do this. You want to do sentence case. So normally a title is in title case where every word's capitalized. You don't want to do that. You're going to do sentence case, which means only like proper nouns are capitalized and nothing else. So the article is called Deer Running Efficient. So I'm going to do deer, and then because it comes after the colon, running actually does get to be capitalized because that's proper. So running efficient, but efficient not capitalized. Okay, so that's the title of my article. So then I'm going to do a space, a period and a space. Now you want to put the journal. What journal did it come from? So the journal that mine came from was the A. Schrey Journal. I'm just going to go. So it's on here. You see at the bottom, of the pages, it should show, if I can get it to come up. My computer's moving too fast. So it says right here, A. Schrey Journal. So that's how we want to present that. On your reference sheet, it's going to be italics because it's a journal name. So you're going to do italics, and you're going to write exactly the name of the journal. So A. Schrey Journal. I want to make sure I spelled that right. So Ash Ray. So the Ash Ray Journal. Very good. Then you're going to put a comma, and you're going to put what, I'm trying to think what it's called. What volume and issue number of the journal was it? So in ours, it doesn't say, it just says April 2012. A lot of times you'll see it say volume 7, journal issue number 400, or something very specific. Because I'm not seeing that on this one, normally it'll be at the bottom in that information at the bottom of the page. We're not going to just make something up. We're going to assume it doesn't have one. Over here, it still says the same thing. I'm going to click on Detailed Record just to see if it brings me any information from this page that I might want to use. And right there it is. Boom. The source was the Ash Ray Journal from April, volume 54, issue number 4. That's what I'm looking for. That's what's going to go here. So even though it's not on every page, it probably was on the first page of that journal. These are like magazines, basically. So that's the information I'm looking for. So volume 54. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do volume 54. The volume number goes in italics. Then the issue number does not go in italics, and it goes in parentheses. So you're going to turn off the italics, and then in parentheses, you're going to put what issue number it was. So it was issue number 4. So we have now the name of our journal in italics, the volume number of our journal in italics, and the issue number of our journal not in italics and inside parentheses. Don't you imagine the people that sit around and figure out how to do all this stuff and make up all these rules are pretty exciting people? Really guessing they are. So then the next thing you're going to do is the page numbers. And this actually should be another comma and not a period. So I misled you there. So journal, issue, comma, page numbers. So back here on our record, it actually says it's pages 44 through 50. So we're going to put in 44 through 50. Not italics. You don't need to put P, you don't need to put PG, you don't need to put anything that references it. So again, you're going to have last name, initial, the date it was published, the article title in sentence case, the name of the journal in italics, the volume number of the journal in italics, the issue number of the journal, not in italics, but in parentheses, and the page number of the journal, not in italics. Whew. The last thing that you can do, if you have it, is a DOI number. So depending on the article, we might be able to find that and we might not. I'm not seeing it on here. It depends on how the library writes it down. So you can see this one has a DUNS number, which is not the same thing as a DOI number. So I'm not seeing anything on here that shows me a DOI number. So we're going to leave that off. I'm going to click, I just want to show you how this works. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see there's a button that says Cite. So if you click on that and you look and you see it says APA references, and it shows you exactly what we just did, except our E was little because it was supposed to be little. So this is going to show you pretty much the citation, so you can check yourself, see if you did it correctly. And we did because, well, we're awesome. And I've done this about 1 million times. So that's going to be our citation, boom, for that article. And then every time we reference that article, we're going to use Davis, 2012 to reference it. Then we would continue going on with the rest of our articles. Ideally, you're going to have several. You need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 articles that you're using throughout. You're going to go, you're going to research those things, you're going to read those articles. You're not going to just find them, quote something, and not actually read them. You need to read the article. You need to incorporate the article. You need to incorporate it in 2 or 3 places in your paper. That shows that you've actually read the article. I'm going to search one more time to see if I can find one more. And so everybody can know. So I'm going to do this one. What's obvious is not obvious. A call for more fundamental change in U.S. patent law. So that sounds pretty exciting. So this one comes up. It's about patents and the Supreme Court rulings on Somebody versus John Deere and the development of patents. I'm going to open up the PDF. This one's pretty long. It's 21 pages. So realistically, personally, I probably wouldn't actually read this, so I probably wouldn't actually use it. But if I thought it really did have something to do with the financial status of John Deere, then I probably would. I would take the time to do that if I thought it was going to be good for my paper. So it's talking about the patent laws. It was published in the Texas Intellectual Property Law Journal. Sure, all of you subscribe to that. That sounds like some good reading right there. So you would read the article and you would find things that might be useful, perhaps highlight them, whatever you want to do, that has to do with it. One thing that I would look for is if there was some sort of financial repercussion from this, that they lost money because of this lawsuit or something happened where they had to pay money, whatever it may be. So we're going to pretend like we're using this just so I can show you one more on how to cite an article. So I'm going to go back to the detailed record of this journal. And we're going to assume that we've already used it, we've cited it, whatever. We're just doing the reference part. So the author of this article is Sorensen Douglas A. So on my references sheet, I'm going to put them in alphabetical order. So S comes after D, so it goes after Davis. So I'm going to put Sorensen D. So again, no first names. So his name is Sorensen. Did I spell it right? Nope, I didn't. Make sure you spell their names right. Sorensen Douglas. So this article was published in 2015. It doesn't actually have a day, so we're just going to use 2015. So Sorensen D, 2015, space. Then you're going to put the title of the article, again, in sentence case. This one is a super long one, so I'm going to try to copy and paste and see what happens. It's probably going to mess up all the formatting, which it is. But what it'll allow me to do, since I have it on the screen, is then I can type it in while I can see it. So we're going to type in the title of the article, if I could type and or spell today. And again, APA should be sentence case. That means that none of the words are capitalized unless they're supposed to be for proper English. So then the next thing we need is the journal. And again, it goes in italics. So the name of our journal was the Texas something, Texas Intellectual Property Law Journal. So we're going to do Texas, I'm very bad short-term memory, Intellectual Property Law. Intellectual Property Law Journal, comma, space, the volume number, which is 23. Clear the italics, in parentheses is the issue number. So the issue number here was 2. And then the page numbers are next, comma, 161 to 181. So that's what pages it was on. So see right here, 161, 181. Boom. I don't see a DOI, so we're not going to include that. So that's all we're going to need. So the last thing I want to show you is how to format this reference page. So in our reference page, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your fonts are all the same as the fonts in the rest of your paper. So if your fonts in your whole paper are Times New Roman, then that's what they should be across the board. Hold on just a second. Olivia, I'm doing work, okay? I'm doing a work video. Wait, I'll come get you when I'm done. Honey, no. I'll come get you when I'm done. Yes. Sorry, that was my daughter. Her doll's spending the night. I'm glad you all are riveted to know this information. So what we want to do is on our references page, you want to select all the text. So if you had 20 references, you would select all of them. And you want to go up on your ribbon to home and to paragraph. Click on that little button right there. It's like a little triangle, or I don't know what that really is. It's an arrow thing. It brings this up. This is what you're after. So your paragraph settings should be left aligned. They should be special. So they should be hanging by 1/2 inch. So only the references page gets set up this way. This is how references are shown. So their left and right are 0, special, hanging, indent. The spacing before and after should be 0, but the line spacing, you should set to double. So again, left, hanging indent of 1/2 inch, no spacing before and after, and the line spacing should be double. So you say, okay. Then it changes it to look like this. So what happens when you have several is all the last names will appear left aligned, and the rest of the stuff kind of bumps in a little bit. So this is how the whole page should be formatted for references. So again, you should have several of these as you're doing your paper. You need to have references, scholarly references, if you want to earn full credit. You can use the internet as a reference as a last resort, but you really, really need to find scholarly articles, scholarly things when you're doing research papers. So that now ends this awesomely exciting video that I'm sure all of you are going to watch multiple times because it was so fun.